Welcome to the channel. Here we will cover the different styles exhibited by working terriers. Different dogs have different styles of working. Different bloodlines produce different kinds of workers. And, different hunters prefer different styles of working dogs. Certain styles will be an asset in certain situations, and a liability in others. If you have an interest in the working aspects of this breed, some terms you will come across are hard and soft. These are two terms that often get thrown around without enough thought when being used. Truth of the matter is, you have harder dogs, softer dogs, mute dogs, and bay dogs. A harder dog is a dog that gives its quarry less space. It is a dog that is engaged with its mouth and teeth, and highly invested in holding the quarry still until the hunters arrive. The breed, as a whole, was developed to be on the harder end of the spectrum. Whereas, their white counterparts, the Jack Russell being the softer of the two terriers. Very often people confuse the term hard with mute. There is a difference between a hard terrier and a mute terrier. A hard terrier can use its teeth and its voice. Just because a terrier uses its voice doesn't mean it is not a hard terrier. This is a common misconception. There is an old saying that goes, if you have not heard your terrier use its voice, that is because you have not given it enough work. While we don't believe this is true for all terriers, as we own some terriers that are mute and very hard on game. But as a whole it is pretty accurate. When you ask one of our good friends if his dogs are hard, the responds, well, yeah, they are hard. They often finish in the ground. But they will still bark if needed. The dogs we produce tend to be on the harder end of the spectrum. They are not always mute, but they are known to be hard. This is the style of dog that is required to dig in the area that we live. Being there is a lot of digging to be done on the side of creek beds, a harder dog will prevent the escape of a raccoon in the root systems, whereas a softer dog will stand little to no chance to hold such quarry still in that kind of environment. It is a lot different than working a raccoon in a tight pipe with one or two turns in the set. The biggest concerns with a hard dog is having one that is not intelligent. You will find some, like Weaver's Bones, that have a terrible selection of holds. Dogs like this will grab a toenail, and then take a lot of punishment maintaining their purchase. While the commitment these dogs show is truly impressive, this can become a real liability in the field. And the time they spend receiving between jobs is certainly longer. But this same trait also makes these kinds of dogs better to breed too. Many believe if you continue to breed to bay dogs your line will cease to work eventually. But on the other end of the spectrum, bloodlines that are known to be hard such as Cocker and Booth lines have been credited with correcting other lines that have all but stopped working in the past. That being said, many people like a good mixer. Their argument is that you can hunt a mixer a lot more than a considerably harder dog. A fact that is hard to argue. An intelligent mixer will not spend as much time recovering as a worker that has no respect for their quarry. I've seen some mixers that were brilliant workers. Dogs that demand respect the way that they pick their shots and get out of the way. These kind of workers are easier to locate when in the ground, being you can hear them. They will bark for a while, and then strike, bark for a while, and then strike. Many of the Hammond's dogs that I've seen have been this kind of worker. They had great noses but erred on the softer side of the spectrum. This is a trait that simply did not work in the larger root sets we've regally encountered where we live. Some of the Gould blood coming from the Ken dog also worked in this fashion. This is the reason this blood is not found in our kennels. For his hardness was never about egos. Rather, it is a required trait for many of the places we hunt in. So we prefer and produce terriers that are on the harder end of the spectrum. Simply because this works for us. We like to see the commitment and gameness in the dogs that we produce. But we respect and admire a skillful mixer. We hope that you enjoyed this video, as there is not a lot of content out there pertaining to this breed. Please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel.